Hi, I'm Jennifer Quick with Soul Clarity Coaching. In this video, I want to talk about soul origin. When you talk to Akashic Record readers, a lot of them will talk about, especially when they're doing soul realignment work, they are talking about where your soul originated with. Now, in the people who have specialized in soul realignment and taught many of us that do it, I think there's about 22 different soul origins that we channel into, and that's what we bring forward. And knowing where your soul originated from can give you great insight into your personality, your gifts, your talents, your struggles in this life. It's really a valuable affirmation of who you are. And when people discover where their soul originates from, it's like they all of a sudden understand their ancestry. It's the same thing on Earth. If you just don't feel like you resonate where you live, but now all of a sudden you learn that you're from, another culture and you're drawn to that culture, now all of a sudden your understanding of who you are really expands. So when we understand our family history, we can really understand a little more of us. That's the same idea with soul origin. When we understand where our soul originates from, we understand a whole lot more about who we are. So, what are some of the soul specializations? Or not soul specialized, that's a different video. What are some of the soul origins? So, the common ones, there is Vegans or Lyrans. They come from the Vega system. They are very light, loving people, higher dimensional. There's Spiccans, there's Alpha Centurions, there's Arcturians, Nihals, Dacians, Mission Realmers, Parallels, Mantakins, Syrians, Valerians, like all those constellations. When you look up into the stars, there's planets up there with all these different species up there, and your soul has incarnated on many of them. So your soul origin is actually looking at where your soul originated when it first decided to separate from the collective that is spirit and have an individual experience. The very first place that it goes and where it spends the majority of its first incarnations leave energy signatures and of influence on that soul and where that path plays out. So for instance, if your soul originated on Mintaka, for instance, that was the first real incarnation that you had in third dimension or in lower vibration. It will, and you had a lot of lifetimes there, it will leave an energy signature. So Mantakins are very aligned to the light. It is a water world, very interconnected. People who are Mantakins have a tendency to be very faith oriented. They just know and believe without a doubt in spirit and love and connection and union. It's really hard for them to actually understand darker energies. They also have these strange, funny fears of water. Usually they love and hate water. They have a tendency to be a fear of dark water because on Mintaka, it's crystal clear. You can see for miles and miles. They also can find Earth a little bit jarring because in a water world, everything's very fluid. Whereas when you're on land, you're always having this thumping on land. Okay, there's more structure on land than versus flowing around things, right? So Mantakins can have a little bit of struggle with those type of things. So that's an example of how it influences on you on this life. So for a Mantakin, they often they tend to have a lot of showers because showering is how they wash away the emotional energy that they pick up. They also tend to be very good at flowing through life, taking things as they come, because water flows very easily, right? They also have a way of just flowing, and at the same time, they carve out a life by just flowing along with life. It's very interesting. Think of like a river, how it It can be very strong and determined, but it doesn't really have, it's not like a wrecking ball. It's just a constant wearing. That's kind of souls that come from Waterworld. So anyhow, that's how it can influence. There are also another, and these in souls, origins can be at different dimensional aspects. So you've got the Earth realm, third dimensional realm, which are Earth souls, Maldacians, Mars, Venus. They tend to be very Earth. Some of the Earth ones, whereas something like a Nihal or a Vegan or Spican or what else? Valerians, Syrians, they all tend to be rather high vibrational. They're usually seventh dimension and up, even up into the ninth, 10th dimensional aspects. And so they're very aligned with love and light and harmony and union. And they don't get as detail oriented into the earth experience as like an earth soul does. Earth soul tends to be very third dimensionally oriented because that's the realm they like to exist in. So anyhow, there's soul origin groups. There's a couple ones that I want to mention, the groups I want to mention as well. One of which is called the Blueprinter group. Blueprinters are souls that they are the souls that came together originally and created the Earth experiment. They're the ones that have altered humans. Or majors they created the Earth. They figured out how everything is structured on the Earth. They figured out our plant life. They literally created Earth and our solar system. Okay. Those are blueprinters. They're very, very ancient souls. Then there's another soul group. And blueprinters, there's a few different categories of blueprinters because they all have specializations as well. And so there's categories of blueprinters. And then there's also parallels. Parallels are very interesting as they come from other universes. And we don't actually, it's beyond our reach, or most of us anyhow, it's beyond our reach as to really understanding what that parallel, what that other universe is. But they actually always have it open to that other universe. So this universe, like our solar system and our whole structure of how we do things, can feel quite foreign to them because they literally exist outside of it most of the time. Their family, their home, their base is outside of this. And those are called parallels. There are, what's another one? Oh, and then I want to talk about, there's a few different negative, what we call negative souls. These, I like to refer to them more along the lines of like agents of chaos. Agents of chaos will be like draconians. Well, mostly we refer to them as draconians, and then within the draconians, there's a whole collection of different species as well, different types of souls as well within that. And I'm blanking on them right now, so I'm not supposed to talk about them, I guess, right now. But just knowing that there are souls that are what we refer to as negative. They are, I like to think of them as agents of chaos. They are literally working to create the illusion of separation. Their job is to cause disruption. Their purpose is to cause disruption. Their purpose is to fracture light, to cause shadow. And they work a lot in reflection as well. And that's because if you have nothing but light, then you have no detail. You have no ability to understand what light is if you don't have an aspect of what isn't light, right? You don't know what love is, can't fully experience love if you're not, if there isn't something else that is the opposite. So that's the agents of chaos or negative, which is draconians. And there's a whole grouping of them as well. I'm not going to go into that in this video. And then there is what now usually gets lumped into being these negative souls is a group called the changeling. You can think of the changelings like the Star Trek, the Borg. All right, they are, and actually, there's a few different types of changelings as well. And they are a simulated species. So the changelings are literally a species of a soul group that has developed through assimilating other souls into them. And that is their purpose. They actually assimilate people, they assimilate souls. So changelings try to well, a changeling, that when it's incarnated, they have a tendency to morph who they are. They will, and it's a natural thing for them. They're like shapeshifters. They shift who they are on a regular basis because they assimilate the traits and knowledge and everything of their environment and the other people around them. They assimilate that into themselves. So changelings are kind of this funny category. Most people won't, they're generally considered to be on the negative side. I don't like to fully put them on the same level as draconians because they're not always as dark as that. There's different types of changelings. But really what they are, they almost are like weaving things back together is a little bit of what their jobs are. But from a perspective of a soul that's aligned to the light, a positive soul, which is majority of us, star seeds, that's what we refer to us as, souls that are aligned to union, to the light, versus an agent of chaos. We need the changelings, we need the draconians, that negative aspect, in order to see ourselves. But we also, at the same time, reject away from them. We need them, but we also move away from them. So, yeah, and we just consider them to be a negative aspect. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I hope we gave you some insight a little bit about that. The last thing I will say, actually, I will go into this just a little bit more. When it comes to changelings and draconians, their souls can attach to a light soul and cause chaos in your life. And these are a lot of the entities that we remove when we do soul realignment, when we do Akashic record work, and we're dealing with the darker or agents, darker entities. That's who they are. So I'm going to do that in another video. I'm going to talk about the different types of entities that can attach to us. Anyhow, I hope you like this video. Please like the video, help me with my algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. Love you all, and book a discovery call. I'd love to hear from you and find out where you are on your soul journey and how I can help you move forward. Anyhow, love you. Bye.